What is up, homies? Welcome back to another episode of the CzechXicans podcast here on Heroes Reforged. I almost said welcome to another reaction.
Don't we have an applause?
We'll be doing that after. Hey, man, we got a sound effect guy. Hey, there you go.
What is it? Episode 187.
1,444.
Just kidding. We've been bad on these uploads, but we've been really busy recently. No, we have been. We've been recording a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
That's true.
That's been keeping us kind of busy.
We're talking about the Patreon.
Yeah.
We finished season 1 of The Boys.
We did.
That's on there. You recut season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
That's
we had
on
some
there.
like technical errors with a couple of the episodes, so I went back and I didn't intentionally put it off. I just ended up putting it off because we were in the middle of doing all the Marvel stuff at the beginning of the last year,
Sure.
and then I forgot about it. And someone recently asked about it, and I was like, you know, I probably could use this time. It was on the weekend, but whatever. I was like, I probably should just finish this and get this done. And it was a little bit of like stitching things together to kind of fudge the scenes. But I was like, no one's gonna care.
Nah, not at this point. No.
And it was never during a moment that was like a big moment. It was always like there was someone talking, or there was like nothing exciting happening.
We were just blankly staring at the camera.
Yeah. I was telling this guy, I was like reversing some clips to make it all fit together, but we're literally staring there like this.
Yeah.
So you can't tell.
Don't move. It's just a blink.
Yeah,
It's just a blink that
exactly.
we had.
Yeah,
So
we
when,
did that.
so when people follow along on Disney Plus with The Mandalorian, hit play when we say to hit
It'll
play.
still
It'll
fit.
all
It'll
fit.
all fit together.
Well, with all of our uncut reactions, the way I started
Yeah, you put a
syncing
time
it-
code?
Yeah, I put a time code, but I also put like, because you know how every show starts with like the Netflix logo or the Disney Plus logo or the Amazon logo. So it starts with a logo and it's perfectly in sync with the rest of the show. So that way people know like, okay, this is exactly where I should be.
So you let the logo play.
Yeah.
The actual visual of the logo, and then you take away the footage so that we don't get in trouble.
That's right.
And then it's all there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You did it.
Very important stuff.
Little sneaky.
Anyway.
Well,
Give us a proper intro. I totally bogarted that intro.
But it's like you have to learn, because we weren't doing that. I wasn't doing that in the beginning.
Sure.
And people were saying like it's a little hard to sync some stuff up sometimes.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I got to figure out a way to make this like very easy for people.
That's pretty good for people.
Pretty
to line up.
easy. Pretty easy.
Yeah, but let's get that intro, Adam. You ready? Here we go.
What's up, homies? But yeah, so we've been doing what else? Oh, we're gonna start X-Men season 2.
Yeah.
By the time people see this, we'll probably have started already. But yeah, and then we
got sponsors up the wazoos.
Yeah, for a lot of our
really
reaction
good.
stuff. We're finishing Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're in the middle of Miss Marvel. Next month's going to be interesting because Andor and She-Hulk are going to like overlap at a certain point next month. And then that will be...
We got some plans for San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
That's happening. That's in the works. And what else? We also have been talking about, I don't know if we want to say anything, but just like another diversion, another thing that we're like, maybe we can put some creative energy into this, or maybe like hire some people to do this thing.
I'm just talking about a website.
That's what I'm talking about. I want to that's my dream.
That's
I want
very
it to-
behind the scenes of Hector.
Wanted to
You can
have
just tell people what it is.
I mean, yeah, a website is not like hush hush. We should have had one already.
.com, y'all.
man.
We're doing a
man.
.com.
Not a lot of people know about this thing called the .com.
Yeah,
but
it's
We're doing the online.
Be careful.
to go to it, you have to start with www.
Yeah.
Dot. And then that stands for world.
and that's confusing to people.
It is.
Sometimes.
It is. HTTP. I have no idea what that stands for.
You don't even need
what
that.
What does that
though.
even stand
You don't
for?
even need that half the time.
That stands for hello to the page.
Hello to the page.
Hello to the
Hello
people.
to the people.
Colon.
Let me in.
Backslash.
That's what colon
Open your
slash
back
slash
door.
means. Let me in.
Let me in.
Let me in. And then you say
Web dot
yes.
clownpenis.fart.
Yes.
And then that's our website.
Ratalada.
Ratalada.
Ratatata.
What are you bad? What are you bad Spanish? Come on.
What are you showing that to me for? Come on.
La el rata. You
So
mean
we're
la?
Spanish,
la?
Avoid.
We're Spanish. I've avoid. And I'm the penguin.
Let's just have this podcast go completely off the rails.
We got to
this
put that
episode.
on our sound
Oh,
cue.
yeah. What penguin just saying?
Just
like,
something.
come on. What are you showing that for? Come on.
Every time we hear someone speaking Spanish, that's the worst Spanish I've ever heard.
That's a good one. That's a good sound clip.
You can tell people about what the website's going to entail.
The website is going to entail
Hector's brain in website format.
We're just going to upload his brain into
Your
the website.
conscious-
It'll be a continuous work in progress. I mean, I don't want to say something that if we're not kind of all on the same page about it, I don't want to necessarily.
Bro, we're all on the same page.
It's gonna be based on.
Yeah, we're all gonna be. We've all been talking about it and stuff, but we would love to put out a website that's like breaks down some of the major franchises in a viewing / if it applies, chronological order, but mostly just kind of like a viewing, like the best way to watch stuff.
Yeah.
Because we get that question asked all the time.
Yeah.
What's the best place to watch the Marvel movies or the Star Wars movies or Star
What's the
Trek?
order or whatever.
Yeah.
And I even did one for Star Trek the other day because somebody asked me, and it wasn't...
Whoa, hold on. Let me rewind it a little bit. Why did you say that like you're shocked?
Because the reason I was shocked was because I wasn't even thinking about it or planning on doing that.
Yeah.
But because somebody asked me on Twitter, I'm like, well, actually, it would be this, and then this, and then this, and I had a little Twitter thread, and I'm like, shit, this is the beginnings
Hector,
of the thing.
You told me that you needed to watch every single episode of Star Trek
to
figure out which one's the best one is.
Yeah.
I thought you would already have this in your head.
I think I've already figured it out.
I knew it.
But they keep making new Star Treks, and you have to, just like Obi-Wan, you got to plug it into the existing thing. Like, okay, where does that fit? You know, or the Bad Batch, or now it's Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, which is post the first 2 seasons of Discovery, pre the original series, and then there's some shorts and things in there. So anyway, we're planning to put out a website that is basically Heroes Reforged our stuff plus this.
Yeah, because I've also been doing graphics for a lot of that stuff too.
Correct,
For Halloween, Star Wars, I just did one. And what else did I do? There might have been another one that I did. But yeah, we were just talking. We're like, we should just put this somewhere where it can live forever. It's easily accessible. Because eventually when you tweet that stuff out, eventually it goes kind of out of style.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
gets buried.
Also, you had a very viral image that went out, and you had to scream for credit, basically.
Oh, the Star Wars one.
Yeah, the Star Wars thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to tell them to give you credit.
Yeah, it happened a lot with the Halloween one, too.
Yeah.
At least from what I found, the Halloween one more so than the Star Wars one. Most likely because Halloween is a franchise that, because it's not as popular as Star Wars, less people know the chronological order of everything.
And also, in terms of like giving credit to the artist, Halloween I think doesn't have as much of a hey, we grew up on the internet fan base like Star Wars does.
Yeah.
So when Halloween fans stole your image and put it out, they're like, no one's ever done this. But Star Wars fans are like, yo, we lived through the 90s, the 2000s, like, so that when you're like, hey, can you give me credit, please? They're like, yep, totally, we get it, understand, like, because Star Wars fans, I think, are a little bit more, again, they just live on the internet.
Those timeline graphics, especially for Star Wars, they happen pretty often.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I guess the feedback I got from people is that mine was the most easiest to like understand.
Yeah.
Well, you're the king of Halloween.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the Star Wars one.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
I
still.
thought you meant the Halloween. I mean, any of those. Like,
It's good.
You put out good infographics.
Yeah, I try to do it in a way that's like digestible and that's not intimidating for people because I always assume somebody who's looking at it doesn't know the franchise well enough.
That's the best way to do it.
So like if you know the franchise well, then like why do you care what order it's in?
Yeah, right. You're doing this for people who need to have it sorted out.
Yeah. Because I've had a few people DM me like, hey, thanks so much for this. This was really helpful. I casually know Star Wars. I don't know the in-depths of like every single date and time.
There's a lot of people like that.
I know.
Yeah,
a lot more people like that than there are. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And like you guys are saying, even if you put something on Twitter, as I was doing that for like the Netflix Marvel shows, and then months later, someone was like, "Hey, what was that thing you tweeted? I remember it, and I can't find it, and I'm trying to watch them, and I'm like, oh shit, now I have to look for it, and oh, here it is." But
there really is like no way to search for something like that.
Right.
I have people reaching out to me. They're like, "What's the best order to watch this stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, let me check with Hector." And then I realized we don't have any of this stuff displayed anywhere. So I'm just like, we need to have this somewhere.
Yeah.
So remember, go to Hello to the People. Let me in. www. Whatever. What'd you call it?
Clownpenis.fart.
Clownpenis.fart.
That's right.
Clownpenis. That's our website.
/ timelines. So that's like an ongoing project, and we don't have a launch date for it right now. Right now, our URL is actually tied to our YouTube channel. So if you type in heroesreforged.com, it goes to our YouTube channel. Eventually, that will change. We're talking about doing like a soft launch of this thing for Thor. It'd be just like a one pager. You're not going to find like an entire MCU thing, but yeah.
I'm excited.
That's a little more plausible right now than doing the entire MCU.
I think Thor: The Dark World, because again, same thing. People were like before Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Oh, what do I have to watch?
Oh yeah, that's what I made it for, Doctor Strange.
Right? Yeah, you did one for Doctor Strange, and so we could do one for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
You know, send that out to the cash audience.
The cash
audience. And you know, spread it around a little bit, and then just build on it for the next, whatever the next Marvel. What's the next Marvel thing after that? That's not the
Wakanda
TV
Forever.
series. Yeah, cool. That's gonna
be massive.
That's gonna be cool.
Man,
can't wait.
Ironheart. So much stuff's gonna happen.
Tracking all the, because like, hey, don't forget, Black Panther debuted in Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
So it's already there's you know,
there's already ups and downs.
So much stuff.
Hey, how'd you like Lightyear?
I liked it a lot.
Great, man. That's great. That's great.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. The 3D was really cool. I do really want to go see it in IMAX because I think in IMAX a lot of the sequences, because they take place.
You better
in
go
space.
soon, bro, because it's going to get pushed out of those nice, you know, those premier theaters just after 1 week.
I know.
I'm going 3D tomorrow morning.
Oh, really?
I just set up my ticket so that I can go.
I know. I probably should go this week because because Thor's going to be coming out
next week. I don't know what this weekend is.
I don't think there's anything coming out this weekend, but IMAX put out a tweet that was like, hey, if you want to see Top Gun in IMAX theaters again,
see it now before
gotta go now.
Yeah.
Hit us up with a plane emoji. And I'm like, crap, that might come out this week and replace Lightyear.
I see.
So I better go see it. But Jurassic World Dominion's also out, so I don't know how they're like switching through that.
That's fine.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Who gives a shit?
You loved it. You loved it.
No, I did not. I was so bummed out by it. But a lot of people really liked it.
Yeah.
And our pal Chris Bramante liked it the most out of the new Jurassic World movies.
Oh, really?
Because Bramante straight up admitted to me, he's like, well, it's because I like Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum and Laura Dern. They brought back the OGs. And I think my main review for that movie, I know I talked to you guys about it a little bit, is that, am I too loud? Are you adjusting my...
No, I'm not touching your anything.
Oh, okay, good.
You're good.
Is that you brought back the original 3 characters and the actors from the first Jurassic Park. Wow, this better be. This is it.
As good as the first one.
This better be. I mean, if it's not as good, this better be the second best Jurassic anything.
Ever.
Because you're not going to touch the first, and that's okay. But like, man, what an opportunity! What a great opportunity to bring those characters back. This story needs to be. And you know what?
It was farts
the
all over the
story
place.
was worse than Fallen Kingdom. I like Fallen. You guys don't like Fallen. I'm fine with Fallen Kingdom. I'm like, it's goofy as hell, but I think it's a well-directed and well-edited movie, and like I get into it. And I think that, it's goofy that the dinosaurs end up at a house. And that this guy's like, where are these dinosaurs? For this
Our auction's running out of time.
Which is really stupid, but bro. Jurassic World Dominion like outstupids it. Like they do things in that movie that you go, huh? This is what happens. You watch it and you go, really?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. That's why Sam Neill's here. That's why they brought back Alan Grant. Really? And then you go, okay.
I guess.
And then you just kind of along for the ride. The prologue was dope.
Not in the movie, though.
Not in the movie. It's not in the movie. But that prologue and Battle at Big Rock, which we saw.
There you go.
Battle at Big Rock is dope.
We saw the prologue when we saw Fast 9, didn't we?
Yeah. F9.
Yeah, F9.
Or Fast 9. I don't know. Whatever.
Anyway.
Yeah,
that's a bummer.
But I'm glad you liked. Here's the other thing, too, that I thought was cool is that you went with Lightyear. You went to Lightyear.
Yes, I went with Buzz Lightyear.
You went with Buzz Lightyear to see Jurassic World Dominion.
Right.
You both thought it was bad.
You went with Tim Allen.
Yeah.
The Tim Allen Lightyear thought it was good. The Tim Allen Buzz was like, I like this movie. This
guy
is great.
This was best.
And the Chris Evans Buzz was like, this needs work. This isn't so good, man.
Language.
Bro, I don't know if this is that great. But you went with your
family,
but you went with an 11-year-old.
My 11-year-old cousin,
So your cousin loved Lightyear.
Yeah, the moment that the credits started, he turned to me and he hugged me and he said, "Thank you for taking me to this movie."
That's what it's all about.
That's
what it's all about.
And it was his first 3D movie too.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, that may have been a core memory right there.
Yeah.
Dude, that little
definitely was a core
TikTok
memory.
trend.
Yeah.
It's like you record it with the music and
make it all dramatic. Romanticize it.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So that I think Lightyear, I think that's the type of movie that all the movies we love, let's be honest, all the Star Warses and Marvels and all that shit. I've been seeing the conversation the past few weeks kind of since Star Wars Celebration about like the Star Wars sequels.
Yeah.
And being like, look, you need to watch these with 11-year-olds.
Right.
They're movies made for fucking 11-year-olds.
Yes.
Like that's who they're made. You know.
That's the same thing with the prequels. I would say. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah, the prequels. Yeah, totally.
Because my brother loves the prequels, and he was he was a year old. He was born a year after Phantom Menace came out, so he grew up with that and Clone Wars.
And even the original movies, man.
Yeah.
The original movies are great. But they're all, and here's what's so great about Star Wars versus like Star Trek.
Yeah.
When something looks janky in Star Trek, you go, that's a budget. That's a budget issue. That is janky. That's not going to hold up.
Yeah.
And it's charming and you love it. But when you see something janky in Star Wars, you go, that's in the universe.
Yeah.
That is built in. There's humans, but there's also like a janky puppet. And that's the best shit about Star Wars. But so those movies, those original movies, I mean, that's built into that. They have a jank to them that like we all saw them when we were 10.
Yeah.
That's why people that grew up with them love them.
Right.
Yeah.
So same with Star Wars sequels, like same with something like Lightyear.
Yeah.
Watch it through the eyes of an 11-year-old.
Watch it through their eyes, and then Qualgar Fartso, my original character, will make sense to you.
Oh my god! I seriously want to do a comic book about that character.
He's got a green lightsaber.
That's amazing.
Stinky.
Choro green, or
it's stinky.
Isn't it so funny?
It smells.
Star Wars. Speaking of, Star Wars brings in actors like Laura Dern, Benicio del Toro, Lupita Nyong'o, and then they have they're playing these characters like this is Qui-Gon Jinn, played by Liam Neeson, and then they have characters like Quetzal Farco that are like
Qualgar Fartso.
That's like me poop 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 poop.
Yes, and that's exactly how he talks.
They're in the same universe, I guess.
Oh my god!
Liam Neeson's like the waves of the Force are mysterious. Is
Qualgar Fartso, played by Patton Oswalt.
Oh my god! I would say the opposite of that is like a character like Chopper.
Yeah. Chopper's dope.
Exactly.
Chopper's got so much sass, dude.
Yeah.
Just a silly, goofy
sass.
It was really cool to see that remote control Chopper show up at Celebration.
Yeah, and now Chopper's going to be. What's so funny is that people who watched Rebels are like all in on Chopper, but people who didn't watch those cartoons. And they're going to see the Ahsoka show.
They don't know how great Chopper is.
And Chopper's in it. They're going to be like, what? This is the goofiest shit.
We're going to freak out when Chopper shows up. Full-blown man cheer happening here. We're going to do the wave.
Yeah. Next up, Qualgar. Next up.
Qualgar Fartso.
Season 2.
Come on, Qualgar.
Season 2 of Ahsoka.
Mr. Fartso, please.
Did you guys ever see Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Yeah.
And he has the blunt bong saber. And it's just like, oh my God. It's like the fart saber's got to be just like that.
Yeah, Qualgar has the fart saber.
Just, every time he walks in a room, turns it on, and I sense a pungent smell in the force.
I sense a disturbance in this room.
Qualgar's here.
I smell midichlorians. The absolute worst. But yeah, no, but Lightyear was good. I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. It looked great. The 3D was great.
Yeah.
I almost felt like it was a little too short at times.
You know what?
Oh man, this could have been maybe like 10 minutes longer.
Without giving anything away, I agree. I think there's some stuff because it's almost like a movie that I think is in some ways even more ambitious than what Pixar normally does. Pixar is like emotion and childhood and moral lessons and beautiful animation. And then here comes Lightyear and it's like trying to be a character piece mixed with legit like science fiction, so like ships and sci-fi concepts, and it's a little interstellar. So in that regard, it's almost like it sometimes feels like Pixar's trying to do the Pixar storytelling formula in it, but it's almost like whoa, throw that out. This should be a character study of Buzz. And I almost wanted more time with. Does that make sense? In a movie where there's no other Toy Story characters but Buzz, I'm still over here like, man, I kind of wish I knew just a bit more about this guy. So it's because it is so ambitious, but they're probably still like, but it's got to be 90 minutes. It's Pixar.
Without spoiling it, will there be a sequel?
I don't know. There could be, but I don't know.
I only question whether there will or won't be because I don't know exactly how well it's doing.
Yeah,
I think it like debuted with like lower numbers.
I don't think
but they could still do it for like Disney Plus.
Sure, but even but even then, it's like, well, you never know because Pixar has really only done sequels if they're like, no, it needs to be a good reason.
Right.
Finding Dory, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 3 and 4, those took years.
Yeah.
And it was still worthwhile for them to come back. Or Monsters University was a great idea to be like, let's just do the.
Bro, you know that movie celebrated its 9-year anniversary today? I thought it came out like 3 years ago.
Monsters still has the worst ride at Disneyland.
It's for kids.
I know, but it's still like, I feel
It's either that or Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I still like that ride better than the Monsters Inc. ride.
Yeah,
the Monsters
me
Inc.
too.
ride is like cardboard cutouts going like this.
I know.
It's rough.
Rise of the Resistance has spoiled you.
I mean, come on. You're paying top dollar. You should be getting top dollar ride, not cardboard cutouts.
Isn't it funny, too, how it's like, I think they knew, they're like, well, this will be the baby ride for babies.
Right, exactly.
So we can cut some corners here. And like, this character will be cardboard.
We can cut some cardboard.
You know, this character will be animatronic, but they'll really just do this.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Rise of the Resistance characters are like,
full blown.
Come with me.
Come with me to the dark The most advanced animatronics in the world. Yeah.
It would be cool if they updated that a little bit.
I mean, damn, even the Transformers ride at Universal's sick.
That ride is baller.
And even another baby ride that I love, the Little Mermaid ride at California Adventure. That's a great ride.
That's a great
ride.
The effects that go into that ride are incredible.
And the music is so good. Nothing
good.
against the music in Monsters Inc. It's great.
Right.
Randy Newman's score, the songs, it's all great. But like, dude, Under the Sea takes you through that whole room, and you're like, I could be in here for 20 minutes.
Right. It's nice and cool.
And not get sick of this song. But Monsters Inc., you go through the whole movie, and you start to notice some of that jank.
Yeah, the jank. Yeah.
It's all right.
Boopies.
That ride and... I know people love it, but the Mr. Toad's ride, that ride is rough, man. That ride is rough.
I can't ride any of those rides anymore.
Exactly.
I love them.
You're
My
too
legs
tall.
my legs don't fit on those.
You're literally too tall for
Yeah.
those rides.
Yeah.
I'm a little guy.
I'm a little guy too, so I
can fit
fit.
there.
I fit okay.
I mean, I can do it,
You can fit
but
three of me.
my knees are like this, and I'm just like, get me out of here. Help me.
My shins are 6 inches long, and my thighs are like 8 inches long.
Yeah. I'm like Deadpool when he's regenerating his legs.
Exactly.
Just little baby Deadpool.
Oh my god.
Little baby bottom.
Little baby legs.
God.
They're strong though. They're strong.
True.
They're
That's
strong.
true.
'Cause they're like,
oh my god.
You know, Mr. Toad goes to hell. Like, it's great.
You straight up go to hell. You
Yeah.
go to trial and then you go to hell.
It's a fun one.
Yeah.
Lord.
Don't drink and drive. That's the lesson.
Are you guys excited to finally be in summer? I'm not.
What is up, homies? Before we get back into the podcast, I want to bring on a very, very special guest and a very dear friend of ours to our channel to talk about a special project that he's been working on quite a while now. And he's got a Kickstarter set up for his brand new comic book series called HELLBENT. DJ Wooldridge from Only Stupid Answers, a good friend of the channel. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing really well. I really appreciate you having me.
course.
Long time listener, first time caller.
I know I feel like we've been on your podcast several times, and the fact that it took this long to get you on ours is kind of embarrassing. So I'm sorry.
I love having you guys on the show. It's
So
so
fun.
great, and I really appreciate you having me over.
Of course, man. Well, talk to us about HELLBENT, your comic book. This is the second time you've had this Kickstarter campaign for this new volume of the book. Give our audience a little insight into what the book is and just what this Kickstarter campaign is all about.
So this is HELLBENT Volume 2. Volume 1 came out last year. It did really well. It's kind of like a dark fantasy thriller. If anybody in your audience has read or is interested in like Sandman or Preacher or Something is Killing the Children. So if you're into that type of thing, like think irreverent, think like big cosmic ideas, adult themed stuff, that is the type of comic we're talking about. We follow Jesse, who's a young girl with incredible supernatural abilities, Nick, who is chosen to protect her, who's kind of like this badass assassin. I like to say that he's a combination of John Wick and John Constantine. He's got a flaming angel sword.
Oh my God, I'm into that.
It's always what you want to read in a comic, right? So it's like, this is the type of comic I wanted. Like when you're reading that stuff, it's like, I want to create something like this, but with these elements. It's just a lot of fun. And this is volume 2. So we're picking up with Jesse and Nick as they are on the run from a group of religious fascists who are villains in the comic. And they make some new enemies, meet some new friends. You get it. One of the new characters we introduce this time is Lydia, who's like a femme fatale character. Is she a friend or a Defoe. You'll have to read to find out. But yeah, if you're into any of that stuff, go to hellbentcomicbook.com. We've got amazing variant covers from incredible artists like Jen St. Ange, Andavi Go, Heather Vaughn, who you might have seen if you're in the Kickstarter space. She's been working on a bunch of stuff. She's our interior artist, and we've got a few guest artists joining her. And it's just an incredible, diverse team of creators. And it's Pride Month, and the Jezzy is a trans woman. And we've got a lot of queer creators on the book. They're all doing incredible work, and I just feel really humbled to be collaborating with all these people, with my co-writer Jaina, Heather on art. I mean, like the secret is when you're doing like a creative project, especially if you're like the writer, is to surround yourself with people that are more talented than you are, 100%. So that you look good. It's just a lot of cool stuff, and it's tough because I can't like reveal all the secrets. I want you to pick it up, because your audience, you guys are covering stuff like The Boys and stuff like that. So if you like The Boys, if that's your speed, you're gonna dig Hellbent.
Let people know once again how much time is left in the campaign and where they can go to check out everything that you guys are offering.
So I think we're only we're 2 weeks from the campaign ending. So please act fast. You're gonna go hellbentcomicbook.com. If you follow me on Twitter, DJ Talks Trash, I'm tweeting about it all the time. We've got a bunch of different tiers. We've got, like we talked about earlier, we got 3 different variant covers. If you want all 3 of them, there's a tier for that. We also have a collector's edition that not only gets you the variant of your choice, but it gets you a tarot card, an exclusive tarot card for the campaign, a special collector's print. So those are some of the options you have that you can get if you go to hellbentcomicbook.com. This comic means the world to us. We've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. It is happening. We reached our initial funding goal. We're working towards as of this recording, we're working towards our second stretch goal, which turns all our stickers into glow-in-the-dark stickers, which is it's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so amazing. Cool. Check all that stuff out. A bunch of cool options. hellbentcomicbook.com. I honestly, I really think you'll dig it. And if you're like, oh, I would love to, but I missed volume 1, there are tiers where you can get volume 1 as well, so you can get the whole story so far. And I just really think you're going to dig it. hellbentcomicbook.com. I feel like one of those car ads where they keep just shotgunning the URL at you, and you're like, hellbentcomicbook.com. You got to go to hellbentcomicbook.com. Go to hellbentcomicbook.com.
Homies, it is time to rally. Let's go to hellbentcomicbook.com. Show DJ some love. Show all those creators some love. Get over there, get you some stuff. I'm already looking at this and I'm like, I know exactly what tier I'm gonna be going for. So DJ, thank you so much for stopping by, for giving us some insight into your book. Congratulations on the success. And we gotta get you in studio to do a proper CzechXicans episode with us with beers in hand. It's been too long.
I would love it. You all are some of my favorite people. I love recording with you, and I truly appreciate you having me on, period, but also to talk about this.
Check out everything down in the description below. We'll have links for everything you need to know to get your hands on a comic book. Now, back to the episode.
You know what? That was going to be my CzechXicans question to you guys.
What was it?
Because we haven't had a CzechXicans question in a while.
Yeah.
Where we talk about stories about stuff, and that's kind of my favorite thing about this thing. Do you guys have either like a core memory or a summertime that you remember that was like, yeah, that was like the best summer I've ever had?
Yeah, I was living in Europe.
Okay, that's a good one. Tell us that story, please.
What kind of car did you say that your mom drove?
I don't. It was either a Fiat or a Skoda or
Skoda. I love that.
Or Peugeot, maybe.
A Peugeot. This is a Mitsubishi Peugeot. I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's a Peugeot. That's its own brand.
I've never heard of that brand.
It's got like a lion on it. They used to make pepper. They used to make pepper grinders, and then they turned into a car manufacturer.
I'm trying to think if I've ever like seen one here that's like an import.
Wow. No, they don't import them.
Yeah, they don't do
Adam,
that.
you should import one.
They do bikes. So
that's what it
that
is.
bike
that's
that
right,
you see, that's a Peugeot.
That's right.
Cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
Peugeot.
I thought it was Peugeot, but it.
Or I don't know. That's not what we used to say.
In Czech, it's Peugeot.
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 I'm gonna say it like that.
Peugeot.
Nazdravi. Peugeot.
Nazdravi. Peugeot. There's a Peugeot. I love the Peugeot. This is my first car. The Peugeot.
Put it in reverse. Peugeot.
They're all stick shift.
Exactly.
Wait. So was this? Do you remember? Okay. So did you live in Czech?
Yeah.
Only in the summers, or did you live there full time?
I lived there. Well, I lived there for 2 years. So I went to first and second grade there.
Okay.
So I spent I spent a lot of summers there because I went back with my family every other year.
Yeah.
But that, like, when I lived there, that's like the most time I had spent there all at once.
Okay. And what made this summer or string of summers particularly
Summers in
incredible?
Rangoon.
Yeah.
Luge
think,
lessons.
I think the thing that I loved the most was because, because Central Europe is a lot smaller and tighter together.
Yeah.
The distance that you cover, if you were to go across Los Angeles, you could go across like 3 countries.
Yep.
Right.
So the thing that I loved was I owned a mountain bike, and in the summer the kids lived in the apartment complex, like it was filled with kids. We all went to the same schools. So they would always come to your house at like 7 a.m, knock on your door. Is Adam home? Is Adam awake? Da da da. And we would like pack up our backpacks with some sandwiches, get on our bikes. I had this I don't remember what the brand was, but it was like a neon green mountain bike with black accents everywhere.
It didn't matter the brand. It was a sledgehammer.
And you went backpacking in Europe as a kid.
Yeah, I would ride my bike to like different towns and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a very different lifestyle.
Dude, that sounds idyllic. That sounds amazing.
It's almost like the type of stuff you see in like Stand By Me and a lot of stuff that takes place like more on the East Coast, or in smaller towns here, like
Indiana or whatever.
Yeah, like that's a lot with
but what you're describing is like Tintin. Like that's what I'd read in like a Tintin comic. Like they're just riding their bike and there's a beautiful European city and then there's
was
a river.
there any particular adventure that you had where you either got in big trouble or you thought you could have got in big trouble and you got away?
You ever found a dead body?
Yeah. Did you break windows?
Yes and yes. No to the dead body, but not too far from where I lived, there was this house.
Ghosts.
And I don't know, it was like abandoned, and we never found out what it was or why. It was like, I don't know if it had been there since World War II or whatever the case was. But it was like completely demolished on the inside.
Yeah.
And there was this like story going around that like the husband killed the family, then killed himself.
Amityville.
The only way to really see inside was there was like the envelope slot. So we would always open it and look in. And it was like, I think it was just like torn off paint and things on the wall.
Yeah.
People and other kids were always like, yeah, that's the dry blood. That's that axe you see on the floor. So we would always, as kids would go over there.
That was the murder weapon.
Yeah, we'd always like go and inspect and see. And sometimes we'd go there like closer to sunset to really freak people out.
Yeah.
But it was like right off the city center. So like I don't I don't think it was fine. But yeah, we used to do stuff like that. And when I played soccer and hockey, well, less when I played hockey, but mostly when I played soccer, I'd ride my bike to the soccer field, and the soccer field was like up a hill, and then there was like cornfields next to it. There was cornfields,
like Children of the Corn.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why I love horror so much.
Yeah.
And then around the property there was like cherry trees and all kinds of stuff. So we would go and we'd pick all the stuff, and the guy who owned the property would always send his dog after us.
Oh no!
Yeah. So that was always terrifying, like being chased by a dog, and you've got like corn, like just stacks of corn in your shirt. And I remember one time,
It's the most European thing I've ever heard.
it was the best. I brought home like, I don't know, like 24 pieces
Ears of corn?
Yeah, and we just like boiled them that night and cooked, and it was great.
Wow.
But then there was one time I picked a bunch of cherries, and the dog was chasing us. And because I just had them in my shirt, I had a white shirt on.
It looked like you were bleeding all over the place.
Yeah, so what ended up happening was I was being chased and I hit a turn too hard and I like fell over and the cherries exploded in my shirt. So from the complex, I was like walking my bike home eventually.
Just
once I got home.
dripping.
I was just covered in cherry juice, and my grandma was with me at the time, and she looked out the window. I've never heard her scream because she thought I was like
dead.
bleeding to death.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" So I was like, "It's just cherries. Where did you go?" That was the best. Yeah.
But you didn't bring any cherries home.
No, I ended
they
up
were
with
all
some. I
squished.
still had
Oh,
some.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was a giant pile.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all that kind of stuff was really fun. Across the street from my elementary school, there was a movie theater. And when I lived there, back then releases were delayed. So we didn't get Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie and Batman Forever until like late 95, early 96.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing those. I had like the posters. My mom had brought me the posters from America.
Oh, interesting.
The Power Rangers
Yeah.
figures. I had it all decked out in my room. And then I remember like going there, and there it was a little bit different. They had intermissions.
Yeah.
So you do like the first, like 45 to 60 minutes of the movie, intermission, get some snacks. And we always sat in the balcony.
Yeah.
And I watched like Lion King, Flintstones, Batman Forever, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, all those movies.
In English
there.
or subbed or dubbed?
Some of them were in Czech.
Cool.
Some of them were in English with subtitles.
And how many in 3D?
Sadly, none. Sadly, none.
Lion King opens and it's like, Moment próximo.
Moment próximo.
Moment próximo. Nazdraví.
Yeah, I know. Nazdraví, nazdraví.
It's really like it's just such a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's for kids. And you know, when you live in an apartment complex, outside of the complex, there's like a playground area. So they have like swings and all kinds of shit for kids to play.
Yeah.
And then they have just empty concrete fields. So we go out there with our roller skates and we play hockey and all kinds. It was really cool. Like there's a lot of stuff from my childhood when I moved back that I really enjoyed. Like I lived in a cool neighborhood. I lived in a cul-de-sac. I skateboarded with my friends, all that stuff. But those memories from Czech are like very special.
The good ones. The good ones.
Yeah.
Now, did this mostly happen around summertime though? Is this like a vacation thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, it would happen most consistently during the summer, but during school days, up until about like winter time, because then it would start to snow and it got dark earlier.
Right.
You do all that stuff, and then in the winter we would do sledding. We'd build like ice castle or like snow castles and do
You
snowball
grew up in
fights.
paradise.
That
basically.
sounds rad.
Yeah.
It's weird because it was only 2 years of my life, but it feels like 10. It's so like ingrained and so memorable.
You said first and second grade?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was between the ages of like 7 and 9.
Just like, what the fuck was I doing?
I don't know. I'm like, dude, I guess San Diego in 1995 and 6.
Bro, but that was like the
sucked.
best time to grow up. Do you have like one memory of
No.
like as a kid
No.
going outside?
I mean,
Seeing the light.
Did you play outside as a kid? First of all,
I did, but it was weird, and because when you were talking about growing up in paradise, like Adam growing up in the 90s, in that time in Czech, in Europe, and having that lifestyle, I feel like, Augustine, I don't know if it was just my family or my neighborhood or whatever, but it felt like in the 90s, things were shifting in the U.S. It's like, it's dangerous. It's dangerous outside.
yeah,
Do you know
I
what
got
mean?
some of that.
Especially versus the 80s, where the 80s has turned into the last decade that people are telling stories of kids on bikes. There's not really that much into the 90s, into the 2000s.
Well, I did. I spent my childhood on bikes.
I still had that when I moved back.
Yeah.
My brother's generation, no, though.
Right. And it's because in the 90s, there was like, they're putting, cocaine syringes in peanut butter cups.
Yeah.
And
I remember there being a myth that there was
Yeah.
syringes in movie theater seats.
Yeah, movie theater
Oh,
seats.
yeah.
Yeah.
And don't talk to strangers.
Right.
And I mean, which is all sensible stuff.
Right.
I think in the U.S. it had this like effect of like it makes everybody paranoid versus the 80s, 70s, 60s,
Plus,
50s.
like, you know what I think also did change it quite a bit was 9/11.
Yeah.
Well,
dude.
that changed things big time.
Because my
Big
brother was
time.
only a year old,
Yeah.
and so prior to that, like he wasn't playing outside because he was too
Yeah.
young. But I do feel like even from my experience, I think after that, everybody was a little bit more like, "Oh, caution."
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
true. So,
Which I get.
So yeah, when I was a kid growing up, I mean, even into my, like, because when you're in middle school, high school, that's when it's like, okay, well, now your buddy has a driver's permit, so then that's how you hang out.
Yeah.
So I still remember the friend in our friend group who like got his permit and license first, and then my buddy who got a truck. And
Did
we
you
would
get
go
in trouble with those kids?
Sure. Yeah, all the time.
What kind
but
of
trouble? Nothing too crazy because we were still like the goody goodies. But going back earlier to the sort of ages that Adam's describing, I don't really remember too much of. Well, that's not true. I had a small neighborhood, even in Chula Vista, which is like a suburb city of San Diego, but it's its own city. Even in that Southern California world where things are very like middle class, not necessarily lower middle class, not necessarily upper.
Yeah.
Like behind my house was like an alleyway and then like a 7-Eleven little like mini mall. Like, so that kind of like a laundromat, like a strip mall. So it's like crappy, and sometimes it'd be like dicey people in the alleyway.
Yeah.
But I still had like a yard and a small house. So I remember, like, one time I got my Ninja Turtles bike stolen out of our backyard.
No,
But-
out of the backyard.
Out of the backyard. Somebody just
Dang.
lifted
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But before that, I would
You
still.
had a Ninja Turtles bike?
I did, which is pretty sweet. But
That's
so yeah,
awesome.
so like I had skateboards in my in my childhood, and like I had a bike or bikes, and so I would go and like, drive up the street where like my friend at the time lived, Johnny. Shout out to Johnny Quintana, and like we would then hang out either at his house, and so like there was little bike riding, but we were still doing it to kind of get around in a small-ish neighborhood.
For sure.
When I moved to what was more like a ritzy upper class area. And I think partly because my dad was like pretending he had money, but dads, but also was like, I'm trying to get us out of that maybe kind of a dicey situation.
Getting us away from the strip
My grandpa
mall.
was like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was still a neighborhood that we moved to, which was called East Lake, very hoity-toity, and it was just a bunch of housing developments just out in the mountains, out in the hills.
And not
just,
a lot of kids around there.
No, a bunch of kids, but also like retirees and whatever. And the weird thing was, we in our backyard, like it was one of these places that had like a golf course and a country club and a pool, like a community pool. And then you see the mountains in the background, which is really cool about growing up in Southern California, is that you do have mountains versus other parts of the
Ocean,
U.S.
mountains.
That's pretty much what it is. And then looking at the mountains, we could see what we were told was the Olympic Training Center. And then we would get to go to it and go check it out. But it was like, the Olympic Train, what the hell is this doing here? What is this? But it was like some weird little facility where like Olympic athletes would go and train.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand the logistics of why that was a thing versus just like, but don't swimmers just like train in their like home country and their whatever? Anyway, you would see the Olympic Training Center. It gave you this hope of like dreams.
Dude, the Olympics in the 90s were massive.
They were massive. But then it all kind of teetered out and like, but then as we moved out there and it was these like rolling hills of like, just like dirt and grass and just like mountainous hills. All of a sudden, boop, 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 boop,
houses just popping up everywhere.
So it's like the Olympic Training Center and this vista of the lake of East Lake.
Yeah.
This little man-made reservoir and mountains. The purple mountains, majesty. Were just like and just covered up with houses.
Disappearing.
Eventually, just kind of disappearing. But before all that was happening, I remember my friend. This was in like 5th, 6th grade, middle school, 7th grade, 8th grade. That me and my friends on our bikes would go and just ride around in this kind of like open dirt, sort of like lots where they were going to put houses. Yeah. And where they had little hills because the houses would go like this. So you put a house here, and then it would put a house here.
Yeah.
But, so these little bumps and little hills.
And you would
and
jump
stuff.
them like ramps?
Yeah. Just
Nice.
little stuff like that, Just kids just like bored out of our mind because it's
Coming
this
home
like
covered in blood because you've fallen too many times.
It's this community that's like, our community's based around a golf course. So it's like, okay, so this is not kid friendly.
Not for kids. No,
not
at
for
all.
kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, we made our own fun and we got into trouble and did dumb shit but it still felt like that was turning less and less. That was happening less and less, and it was turning more into stay inside.
Yeah.
Maybe it was also mixed with my interest too, because I was like, I want to play video games.
Yeah, I think that's
like
really.
To watch, I like to watch movies.
I think
and
it
shit,
might be a combination of the two, because I mean the same thing even happened to us as growing up. Like our childhood, me and all my friends, it was kind of like yours, Adam. I had like think of the Sandlot. That's how me and my kids were like running up and down the street, right? All of our friends. Yeah. We all had bikes. But eventually we aged out of it where video games kind of took over, music took over. Yeah. So we would just spend all day inside. Driving took over.
Plus
all
also,
of that
dude,
changed.
I'll say this, dude. I don't know how kids today leave the house, because it's like, my God, you guys are growing up with Netflix, Disney Plus, internet, all the not only all the old video games at your fingertips, but like all the new shit. And I'm like, kids in the 50s in Sandlot, they didn't have shit. That's why they played. That's why they played baseball, bro.
Well, I mean,
we had Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Like, we were living large.
Yeah, I mean, I look at my brother.
I didn't have both, but I'm just saying we
didn't have any
collectively.
I mean, I look at my brother and my younger cousins. I mean, my younger cousin who I saw Lightyear with, he stays busy by playing hockey. And that's the thing that gets him out of the house.
Which is great. But he's like, Adam, thanks for bringing me to my first 3D movie. Hang on, I got to take this. Beep. And he's got a cell phone.
He is.
Laptop.
Buy sell.
He has a little laptop that's this big.
iPad, everything.
Hang on.
Ring decoder.
It's Beverly. Hang on. She's in trouble.
I mean, my brother for the last, I think, 2 years, so he would have been 19, 20. He had he built his own computer. He's been gaming. I'm like,
crazy.
Damn, bro, I don't even know when I bought my first computer.
Our generation and the generations before us, they didn't have that.
No.
No.
Only the super uber nerds in
We
their
made like a
garages.
really weird transition from analog to digital,
Yes.
and then it really started
Bro,
picking up
the internet used to come in the mail
on a
Yeah,
CD,
on
dude.
a CD,
Yeah.
with
and a
minutes.
floppy disk even.
floppy disk,
Dial-up.
dude. Yeah,
couldn't be on-
my first computer could not play an MP3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember downloading an MP3 off Napster.
It took
and
5 hours.
Well, no, it took like 24 hours.
Yeah.
I
It was for
remember-
one song.
I remember loading the webpage to try to see the teaser trailer for Spider-Man.
Oh my
in
God, dude.
2002.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe in 2001.
15 years to
2001.
download that
Yeah.
shit.
That it was just like
640 by 360.
like this big.
Yeah, it was
And I'm like,
tiny.
oh man,
It's so cool.
I can see him.
I can
see it.
His eyes.
I see a red and blue blur.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
What a weird upbringing.
There was actually
Yeah.
an article I found not that long ago that talked about the teaser trailer for episode 1.
Yeah.
And how they're talking, it was like how technology has changed and like it's so crazy because it was like 480 by 320
Yeah.
size. It took like
It was like 2 pixels big.
yeah. It took like 5 hours to download,
Yep.
and it was like a 15 megabyte file.
Yeah.
And now it's like we watched that shit on playback on loop.
Oh yeah, we watched
YouTube.
the 4K version
Yeah.
non-stop.
scrolling.
Ridiculous.
Scrolling on
It's like,
Twitter.
oh,
and-
this
Too
resolution
long.
is garbage.
Ugh.
yeah.
Yeah.
What is this 4K? Blech.
Yeah. So it's not just that, Augustine, that you and I didn't grow up in Europe, but
Right.
it's also
Right.
the internet, coupled
Yeah,
with
change things for sure.
we were in the age where we were growing out of this
yeah.
lifestyle, and also straight up living in the U.S. and probably around the world too. September 11th did make everybody paranoid about
Yeah.
shit. So it really was like
For us,
it's weird.
I mean,
it
there's
was,
no Halloween that year for me and my friends.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that did kind of stop
Yeah,
everything.
right?
But for me, it was the events of the LA riots. So I remember my parents always telling me to watch out for gang members because
Yeah.
we had a lot of gang members in our neighborhood.
Wow.
We grew up with some of the people that I grew up with are either passed away from gang violence or in prison for like gang stuff. Like I grew up with those kind of people.
Like people your age?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
crazy, dude.
Like right out of junior high, like jail, juvenile
Yeah.
hall, jail, prison, like all this stuff, right? Like
Wow.
dudes were serious about this stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember, them telling us not to wear blue or red.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember
Like
that,
that
too.
was
and
the
I'm
thing.
in San
Don't-
Diego.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm in
you're gonna
safe San
mistake an
Diego.
8-year-old
I know.
kid for like a
I
gang
know.
member? I don't think so. But they wanted us to like be so
Avoid
far
it.
away from that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Just
But-
to make sure
that
you're
too.
not affiliated.
Right,
blah, blah, blah.
exactly.
Yeah,
To
all that.
not get
Yeah.
mixed up in anything.
Yeah.
But that I guess that was kind of
Horrifying.
like the biggest fear with us growing up. But for the most part, I had a pretty carefree childhood. We, like I said, I kind of grew up like you. We grew up in a little neighborhood that was away from the rest of the big city.
Yeah.
So it was surrounded by agricultural fields, right? And so we would go out and we would just like eat strawberries that were grown off of the ground, and they were incredible. But thinking back on it, they were probably covered in pesticides. So we probably shouldn't have been eating those. But then we also had, apparently there was like old vestiges of like World War II stuff there because there was an airport nearby. So there was a nuclear bunker. Like it was a nuclear bunker that was hidden by dirt, and we would call it the bunker. And it literally had one of those like 150-pound doors on it with like a
Oh
like
my
a
God.
like a turny thing.
Every
and
kid
it was
deserves a bunker. Every kid
right?
should be able to play
We
in a
had to
bunker.
ride our
Treehouse
bikes
was
out
a
there.
bunker.
We had to
Yeah.
ride our bikes in the dirt out there, and you look inside, and you could tell nobody had been in there for like 50 years.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
it was just like rusted out. There was like old like mattresses that had like rotted in there and
Oh,
stuff.
Lord.
And then there was this other place. There was this big eucalyptus forest next to the airport, and we called it the Haunted Forest.
Oh, God.
The Haunted Forest was a spot you only went to in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And we only pulled up to the front and like kind of peeked in. Like we were just like, okay, like cool. Because there was also bullies in our neighborhood who would follow us. So we didn't want to get caught in there
Yeah. Then
and
you'd
then
be real
be in
screwed.
trouble, right? But even in there, we went in a little bit one time, and there were just these like big concrete pillar things. We don't know why they were there. Like, it was a very odd place. So the story is that maybe they were hiding airplanes in there during World War II because it was next to an airport.
Yeah.
We don't know. Nothing has ever been confirmed, right?
That's
And
cool.
so we grew up with these, like, odd, like,
Urban
things
legends, yeah.
sticking out of, like, agricultural field, and so it was always like places to go adventure. Like every day was like a new adventure going out to all these places, and it was really cool because we all were the same age, we all had bikes, like and so that would be our summers. Like one summer was Super Soaker summer. We all got Super Soakers, and every day we'd go outside and just like have these water fights. And then one summer was like baseball summer, and so we all had like baseball gear and we would play out in the street, and it was just like idyllic. It was just crazy how cool it was. But that, I mean, as soon as people started driving and like as soon as people started getting older,
all right.
I don't even remember when nobody probably ever remembers, but like the last time we hung out as a friend group, you know,
as children,
like having a good time, because you don't think about that stuff. But
I think for all of us, it happens around 11 or 12,
maybe,
because that's the tail end of childhood. You still get together like to play Nintendo or some shit,
right?
But it's also kind of the beginning of like, okay, so now we're teenagers now, and we're going to go to the movies, and we're going to so like
it changed into a different
way. I think it happens.
I remember us like urgently trying to go to the mall for whatever reason. We all just needed to be at the mall.
Dumb.
Stupid.
And now we get older, and I'm like, I want to go back to the childhood hangout. And I'm telling you guys about these video games I'm trying to get, like trying to find old video game shit.
Was skateboarding big in your guys' communities?
No.
Because 90s
skateboarders in our communities were punks.
Oh, really?
And so I grew up in a Cholo-centric community. And it was the Cholos versus the skaters. I don't know if you guys ever had this rivalry.
Cholos are all about scooters, baby. Razor
was huge.
No way. Not even. Those didn't exist at the time.
No, they didn't. Hey, we got the wheelies.
Oh my God, I forgot about those.
We got the wheelies, Holmes.
We got the wheelies and the heelies, fool.
No, it was the Cholos versus skaters, and they hated each other. And there was only like one or two skaters, because I grew up in a very Latino neighborhood. And so it was like the white person thing to do, and so it wasn't cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so it was just like no skaters.
And then when I moved to Eastlake, predominantly white neighborhood,
skating was cool.
Skaters.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Dang, dude.
I lived in a pretty mixed neighborhood. I would say it leaned more white, but it was pretty mixed.
Yeah.
But skateboarding was big. But I think it was also because we all played Tony Hawk Pro Skater. So we all go to each other's houses and play, and then we go skateboarding outside. And
we didn't even play video game skateboards because we didn't want to be punks.
It was. I think it was. I want to say it was probably around when I was in 6th or 7th, maybe 6th grade, when skateboarding was like really popular.
I mean, that's when like X Games was blowing up.
Yeah, like 98, 99. And it was already popular, but I feel like when it entered my life, it was 97, 98, 99. And it was like World Industries, Etnies, Osiris, DC.
Those big old ugly shoes.
Duffs.
That shit was the Osiris backpack with the speakers on it. Globes, like all like they San Diego was like huge.
Adam, you got to stop, dude. I can see rage in Augustin's eyes.
I know. My Cholo urges are coming out.
I can see this button just getting tighter. And this one just
Charlie
opening
Holmes
up. Just opening up.
Charlie Wing.
I can see the bandana coming up, wrapping itself around your head. Like, oh shit. Adam, stop.
A little tattoo of like creeper right here showing up on my forehead.
He's like,
little creeper.
All of a sudden, he just has a handful of homies. Like what? Calm down.
My God.
My cholo senses are tingling.
My Cholo senses won't let this happen, Holmes. Anyways,
cool, man.
that was fun.
And now,
down memory lane.
Cholos on TikTok are skating and drinking cranberry juice and going viral.
Bro, yeah,
It's Cholos out.
it's changed. The world has changed. The Cholos and the skaters don't beef anymore.
Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
We realize we're all a marginalized community, so we got to stick together.
Cholos are like, we go after the banks now.
Yeah.
We go after bankers. We go after big banks.
Yeah, it's just like everybody versus the cops at this point.
That's right.
So that's what it is.
It's us versus Big Pharma.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah.
Stick together.
Oh my.
Pfizer, fuck Pfizer, fool.
Hey, we used to hate skaters. Now we don't like Republicans,
Now we don't.
dude. Straight up. They actually affect us negatively, dog.
You gotta learn, dog.
You gotta learn. Hey,
You know
are
what's
you registered to vote?
what's really
Are you
funny?
registered to vote?
You know what's really freaking funny? Me and my wife have noticed this. A lot of the Cholos that I grew up with,
Yeah.
for as many as got in trouble,
Yeah.
a lot of them also after prison, went back to junior college, and they all got engineering degrees.
Wow.
I know one that works at like a nuclear power plant.
Whoa.
I know a dude who's like got this huge job as a mechanical engineer for some big company.
I love it.
Cholos love math.
Yeah,
Cholos fucking love math, and I don't know why that is,
so
but they love math, and I'm just like, yes, those are the stories we need.
I love it.
We need these cholos coming up and teaching people, and schooling people.
Can we get them to run Warner Brothers and make a better DC universe? That'd be cool.
That's not math, dog.
That's not math.
That still requires some math.
That's not math.
That still requires some math.
That doesn't have the quadratic equation.
Oh God!
Damn,
I
that's
miss
cool.
the '90s.
I want to
good time.
I want to write a movie about that, about like cholos learning the quadratic equation,
What would
getting
it
out
be
of
called?
prison.
What would it be called?
Ah, man, that's a great question.
Let's
I
chop
feel
some
like there's a
titles.
really good name in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Oh my god!
man, there's got to be there's like got to be a pun.
What is
or,
there?
like-
What is there? The Lemony Snicket movie. What was that called?
a series of unfortunate
A
events.
series of fortunate events.
Yeah.
For Mr. Creeper. For Lil Mosca.
Oh my God!
Great. We got.
But it's a documentary about
See,
how he comes and does math.
What I love about this is that like it feels a little bit almost like Hidden Figures, where it's just like where it's just like based on a true story that you don't know anything about, but all these Mexican guys are going to prison and then getting engineering degrees. But it also feels like all those like inspirational movies of the '90s, where James Olmos
Stand and Deliver,
Stand and Deliver,
Yeah.
Where they used to make so many of those movies. Freedom Riders, what was that with the Hilary Swank and The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock, where it's always like one white person helps a marginalized person.
Yeah.
But at least
The white savior movie.
At least in Stand and Deliver, it was Edward James Olmos talking about math.
Yep.
That's really funny. So it would be like that, but from the perspective of but letting some Latinos actually tell their own story.
Tell their
kind
story,
of
of
thing.
course.
That could be great.
Yeah.
That could be great.
There you go. That's what
So
we
you're
have to
gonna write it,
direct,
huh?
Adam.
It'd be called Space Mexican. I work at NASA, Holmes. Mexicans in space.
Galactic Mexicans.
Cholactic.
What's that new space? That new telescope called?
Yeah. The Cholastic Equation.
I thought he's. Never mind. I could have sworn you said Choloscope, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
There you go.
Choloscope.
That's what the documentary is called. The
Choloscope.
Choloscope.
The Choloscope.
Choloscope.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Are you still shopping titles in your head?
I am. I really am. I really am. Whatever. We'll put a pin in it. We'll figure it out.
We'll think titles.
You
We'll
guys
think
wanna answer
titles.
some Patreon questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are questions that have been submitted from our Patreon community.
Sorry. I meant. Nope. Sorry.
Nope. There you go. That's the one.
Nope.
That's the one.
Maybe this one.
There you go.
Questions submitted from our Patreon community. Thank you so much. The first question is from Shelby Fielding. Hey guys, special thanks to Adam for checking out my website and reading my Marvel rankings. It means the world and so much more. Speaking of writing, I want to ask, who are some of your favorite writers and why? Comics, movies, TV, books, etc. Hector also saw your website too.
Great question. Yes, I did. Really fantastic work, Shelby. I think that you've reached out to me about some stuff before, and really, really good. Keep doing it. Some of my favorite writers across anything. Well, I still remember when I was younger, because we've been talking about all this, my headspace is kind of there.
Yeah.
I remember honestly, earnestly reading movie reviews written by Roger Ebert.
Oh yeah.
And being like, he is a great writer.
Yeah.
And I still remember some of those reviews and even agreeing with him, disagreeing with him, but just being like, that kind of writing was really inspirational at that level. Who else? It's for comics, movies, TV, books,
media.
I will say that the thing that got me into comics in the first place, I think it was Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
So Bill Watterson for me was like,
great.
I would read those books, and reading them now as an adult is a completely different thing, by the way, if you've read them as an adult. But as a kid, I thought that the combination of the writing and the art was just like immaculately good, and I didn't realize how good it was until I was an adult.
Do you feel now when you read it that you're more like Calvin's dad? almost.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I'm an adult now and I know what he was trying to do with Calvin. Like, everything builds character, right? Like, every lesson was so you could build character.
But just the way Bill Watterson would write, like, a description of like the Jurassic era.
Oh, beautiful!
Right? It's just
those are my favorite color splash screens. Yeah,
just such great writing, and then it would always end with a little joke.
Yeah,
that would be
a little Calvin
like
joke,
right up to the present. That would be a kid, something a kid could get.
Yeah,
that writing was great.
The writing was
Spaceman
incredible.
Biff or whatever, same
Spaceman
thing.
Spiff.
That would be like he could go to different genres and do this really eloquent, beautiful, researched, knowledgeable writing.
Yep.
And then there'd be a joke
and then
at the end.
Bring you back to that kid humor that would just... It was like the pictures would keep you, the story would keep you, and then the funny joke at the end would like...
I think even the last one he ever did...
That one still makes me cry.
We're like heartbreaking because it's all about... It's like philosophical. Yeah. And then it ends with just a pure little thought.
Yeah.
Like
it ends with like, it's a wonderful world, Hobbs. Let's go exploring. God. Those were the last words. Because it was the end. It was Bill Watterson coming to terms.
Like, I'm done doing this.
Ending this thing that had put him on the map.
That he did for 10 plus years, I think.
Yeah. This was his life's work. Yeah. And so it ended on his terms.
And you have the whole thing.
I have the whole collection. I gave you a collection too.
I have a whole collection.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
You got to read it, Adam. It's the best.
It's so good. And it's just like, so it came out of Sunday Funnies, so they're just strips, right?
Yeah.
Like you can read just a strip and be fine.
Yeah.
But then he chained strips together to where like it would take place over like several months of like of the newspaper coming out.
And to read it all in one sitting.
Yeah, and to read it all in one
satisfying.
sitting is just like, this guy's a fucking master at writing. Master. And then his art's just like insane. His art's just so good.
Taika Waititi, I think, is a really great writer.
Yeah.
So funny. Just great modern humor.
I think just the Kiwi sensibility of humor is just a whole nother just like way of looking at things.
We really enjoyed the writing in The Boys.
Yeah.
We talked about that a lot. So that was really great. Movies, books. Damn.
I've been I really do like Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah. He's a writer, right? Yeah,
he's written some things, but he has a lot of help from a lot of screenwriters too. But some of the stuff, like, is really good. But actually, you know what? Taylor Sheridan is a really good writer. He wrote Sicario, and Denis Villeneuve directed that. Taylor Sheridan is a really, really good writer. Everything that I've seen of his, the only thing I have not seen is Yellowstone, I think it is, the show with Kevin Costner.
Oh shit, it's huge. That show is massive.
Dude, I did not know how massive that show is. Aren't those isn't like the one with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, aren't those spin-offs of Yellowstone?
Yeah, dude.
It's like 1880 something, and
isn't
then
that crazy?
they're doing another one called like 1923 or something.
Yeah.
So Taylor Sheridan, he's written a lot of, like, Hell or High Water is a really good movie. I think he also directed Hell or High Water. Really, really good writer. That's more recent. I'm trying to think of, like, what are some other, like, writer. I mean, Chris Nolan is a good writer. I feel like when he... Sometimes I don't feel like he necessarily is able to completely, like, direct the hell out of a script, but I feel like he writes it in so much depth and detail that, like, sometimes I almost feel like it might be a better book than a movie at times.
I get that. I know what you're saying.
Like Interstellar is like so layered.
Yeah.
Or even Inception. I'm like, maybe this would have been even better as a, like, I like those movies. I know a lot of people don't. Some people don't. But I'm like, maybe these would have been even better as books.
Yeah,
because you can go so deep with some of them.
It's a good point.
But yeah,
it's a good point.
All right, next question.
Even Shane Black is a great writer too.
Yeah, Shane Black's fun.
Yeah.
Even if I don't love every one of the things he's done, there's a bunch of fun stuff in there. Yeah.
Super Dude 95 asks, "Hey homies, fan of you guys since the Film Pundits. What are some of your favorite guys' beers and drinks, etc.? Do you have any local favorites or anything special you pick when hanging out with friends or shooting an episode together?" I've really been into the mango carts.
Oh, I thought I had the
They're really like they're
mango
nice
carts
summer
are good.
beer. What's
I
that
like a
strawberry
Stella.
one?
That's also a Beta strawberry something.
Yeah, God damn, that thing's
that was
good.
a good one.
I like a Stella. I like a Heineken.
Yeah,
I like a
Heineken's
blue. I like a Blue Moon.
Coronas.
You like the Coronas?
Of course, Coronas are like
you're
water.
a light beer drinker. Though.
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
No, but there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not a light.
I hate IPAs. Adam loves IPAs.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's not IPAs are my shit.
Yeah.
I will say, I did go to what's it called, Benny Boy. Adam, we need to take everybody there. They have this basil beer.
Ooh,
that
I'm
it's
into that.
just incredible.
Really?
Incredible. Like, if you like basil or like those
Yeah.
Italian-y flavors, this beer is just like, you drink it and it feels so fresh.
See, I'm into that kind of stuff.
So fresh.
Because I had a sriracha beer that Rogue made,
Yeah.
and I haven't been able to find it. So it must have been discontinued. It must have not been a hot
It's
seller.
a seasonal, yeah.
Yeah, this was a few years back.
Yep.
I liked it though. Like it tasted like a regular beer, and then at the end you got a little hit of
Spicy,
sriracha,
little
spicy
spicy kick, yeah.
I really liked it.
Yep. They also had, I believe, Mother Earth Brew had like an Aztec chocolate beer.
Oh.
And it was like a stout.
Interesting.
But Aztec chocolate is spicy.
Yeah.
And so it had a little bit of that spicy kick
spice.
to it. I really like new and creative beers. I don't understand IPAs. Like, I don't understand those beers whatsoever.
I think I know for a lot of people, like the taste is like not people's cup of tea.
Yeah.
I think it tastes good.
I've had a few IPAs that taste good.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just that bite that is
Yeah.
just too
Too much.
overpowering for anything else.
See,
That
I
is
like
just
that.
all bite, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Ugh, I wish there was a different flavor in this bite.
Have you tried the tangerine IPA from
The Ballast Point, yes, I don't like it.
Is it Ballast Point? No,
The one with
I think
the-
it's Stone.
The one
Stone
with
Brewing.
the rockfish on it.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Then
no.
no.
But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Because that one's also like a citrusy. one.
Yeah. The tangerine IPA from what did I just say? Not Ballast Point.
Ballast.
Good God, it's in San Diego.
I don't know.
It's good. I get it sometimes when if I take the train to San Diego. That one's really good. But yeah, there's quite a few.
It's got to be Cholo Numbers. That's
do you
got to be
mean?
the name of it.
Oh,
It's like low numbers.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Cholo Numbers, and then you
Cholo.
see Cholo and you see numbers. You go, all right, something to do with math and
What
some
about, like,
inspirational
Cholo Dreams or something.
Cholo. But then it's like low dreams. No, I don't like that.
That's true. That's
You see,
true.
but low numbers.
Ah, I see where you're playing
Right?
with the low.
Yeah.
Cholos and highs.
Cholos and highs.
Or cho highs and lows.
Cho highs and lows. What? Cho highs?
Cho highs?
I'm
What's
not
a
a
cho?
cholo, dude. I'm a cho
high,
high.
dog. Fuck it, dog.
I made it, dude.
I'm not low.
I got an engineering degree. I'm a cho high.
I'm a cho high, dog.
Stupid. That's dumb.
I'm not cho low.
Anyway, next question.
Atir Abdul Ralph asks, often teams of creators get into conflict and disagreements on the direction and vision of the content, eventually causing some to split and go their own ways. Do you guys get into such conflicts and have creative differences? How do you resolve them? Any lessons or advice you'd like to share in this regard?
No, I mean, I think that's our strength in that we all have a unified vision or are open to somebody's unified vision, right? Of going forward.
I would say I'm the most stubborn one.
Really?
Yeah, I would say so.
You think so?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's not a bad thing either because
No.
we put so much trust in you to like guide the channel that
Right.
we're just like, yeah, that's fine.
I think if we've had ideas.
Don't make Adam mad. Don't make Adam
Yeah,
mad.
pretty much.
mad.
Well, to go off of that, I mean, I
Yeah.
think if we've had ideas that we wanted to try, we've tried it, and if
Yeah.
stuff hasn't worked, we've all kind of either verbally agreed or sort of like non-verbally agreed to let it go.
Right.
Meaning, like we do kind of know what we're doing,
Yeah.
what this usage of our time
Yeah.
is. And if any new opportunities arise, we talk about it. We might take it. Like this
Yeah.
website, for example, we're all kind of like thinking the same thing. We're like, we can do it. Let's
Yeah,
try it
because I
out.
think we've all have been in agreement that we need one.
Sure.
Right.
It's just figuring
Yeah.
out like what's on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think to Augustine's point, like kind of joking, but it's kind of true. It's like we know which battles to pick.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so if one of us is like, well, I was thinking this, and the other two are like, I feel like that first person is usually like, all right, that's not that big. Like this isn't the you know, what's the thing I'm thinking of?
The
Like,
end all be all.
Yeah, the end all be
Yeah.
all. This is
Right,
the deal
right, right.
breaker. Like it's not, you know.
Yeah.
None of us have ever come to the other two and been like, this is what I think this channel should be. And if that's not it, I walk. Like that's never
Right, right,
happened.
exactly.
It's like, bro, we watch fucking
Also-
superhero movie trailers. What do you think
Yeah,
this is?
like this isn't like we are not fucking breaking ground here.
Yeah.
Like
But I like this. The next part of the question is sort of
Yeah.
like, do you have any lessons or advice in that?
Talk it out.
Not just about what the three of us are doing, but just
Yeah.
for anybody that's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm trying to do something creative with other people, or
Yeah.
I'm at work and I'm struggling, or I'm doing something and it's going really well, but like in case something comes up, talk it out. Basically, I think that great advice is pick your battles.
Yeah.
You know, pick the
Yeah.
hill you want to die on.
Yeah.
If something's really, really important to you, then fight for it, I guess, and kind of like not push back, but just like let people know that it's important to you. And anytime something's not important to you, let it go.
Right.
Be a team player. Be, you know, a collaborative, and be cool with other people taking the lead and be like, hey, great job. Yeah, I don't give a shit about that thing, but you do.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Right,
Dude, that was
right.
awesome. That's really great.
Yeah.
That's also great advice for relationships. Don't
Don't be overbearing.
Don't be overbearing. I remember we had a contractor come and doing some stuff at the house, and they put up a shelf, the one that's in our little dining room.
Yeah.
And they were done, and it was kind of an ordeal to do it. And then Abby looks at it, and then she's like, Hector, come here, take a look at this. And I was like, all right. And I went, and I was like, yeah, it looks great. And just sat back down.
Yeah.
And the contractor was like, man, you don't really give a shit about anything, do you? And I was like,
You're like, bro, I'm fixing my timelines over here, dog.
and I was kind of like, no, I do, but just not this.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
This isn't, I see it. It doesn't.
looks good.
It looks
It
good.
looks
It's not
straight.
falling off the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a form. It's got a function. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't.
There are
it
no
doesn't-
giant holes in the
It
drywall.
doesn't make me mad if I look at it or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Right,
but there's
right.
been other things, especially when you live with somebody. That's a great example because
Yeah.
you will eventually decorate and fill
Yeah.
a space together.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a hey, I like this, you like this, we both like this, we both dislike this.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of telling the guy, I'm like, there's other stuff around the house that Abby has had ideas, and I've been like, no, not that one.
Yeah.
This is how I feel about that. But
Yeah.
this, go for it.
Yeah.
I
Plus,
don't care.
that piece is dope.
It's
that
super
piece that
cool.
you put up.
But
is
she
really
showed
dope.
me like on paper. She goes,
Yeah.
I was thinking about this, and what do you think? And I was like, great.
Yeah.
I did. I really, and it's not like in a negative way, but like I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it's
right?
not that you don't necessarily even care about it. It's just that that's not your focus.
Correct.
That's
It's not my passion.
It's not your. It doesn't even have to be your passion. But
Mm-hmm.
like art and decoration on a wall isn't a focus or in your wheelhouse at the time.
Right.
You know?
And
Because
or-
there could be
yeah.
a time where you maybe. We drop all this YouTube stuff and we become interior decorators. Then you'll really care about that stuff.
Absolutely.
Right?
Or if I had those turtle drawings that you have right there,
Right.
those pieces of artwork,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I want to hang those.
Right.
And I really care about this wall
Yeah.
or this piece of artwork
Yeah.
and this design in the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
And I do have some pieces where I'm like, look, I know this is tacky as hell. I want to put this up because I love this
Yeah.
thing so much.
Yeah.
But other stuff I've let go. I have a framed poster of John Carter.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think that's going up in the house anytime soon.
Never. It's
Ever.
never.
Nobody wants
Hey.
it. I've tried to give it away.
Bring it here, dog.
No, it's not going up. It's too big. It's not going up. It's not going up.
It's a 27 by
Whatever.
40 full.
Did you still have that
Captain
Winter
America?
Soldier?
I gave it
Yeah.
back to you.
You did?
Yeah.
What did I do with it?
I don't know. Maybe you gave it away.
Maybe I did.
I brought it to your house when I
Put it
moved.
right behind you over there.
Maybe I did because again, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, awesome movie. I love it.
Yeah.
But it's not as good as Spider-Verse for me, or
Yeah.
like it's the same thing. It's like it's.
I mean, it's the
yeah,
same for me, especially
yeah,
when I moved. I
Yeah.
got rid of a ton of artwork.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So to
For
me,
no reason other than I was like, I don't have anywhere to put this.
Yeah,
and to me,
right.
artwork, it's the same type of thinking with just all decorating and all putting together a house.
Yeah.
Some things you're going to really care about, and other stuff, I would hold something up and
Pick your battles.
exactly, and Abby would be like, I don't really like that, and I'd be like, you know what? It doesn't bring me joy.
That's fine.
I don't care.
Marie Kondo.
I'm gonna Marie Kondo this shit. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Get it out of here.
But I
Yeah.
will be like, but this one I love.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
let me keep it. Please. Same thing.
But also, that is important to other people as well to know what you love.
Yes.
And just like us, like there's videos on our channel that nobody watched, but we wanted to do them
Yeah.
because we wanted to give it a shot, right?
Yeah.
Because we love them.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. Fine. No
Yeah.
problem. No big deal. We
Totally.
move
Yeah.
on. Like that's really
For sure.
lowrider, dog. We don't know. Oh shit.
Hello.
That's all I got.
Sorry.
What's the next question?
Next question, dog.
Next question comes from Sean Jacks 30. If they gave you one movie to make for each of you from any popular cinematic universe right now, and you get to pick the director, lead, and film composer, what do those films look like?
Mine would be the Bill Watterson animated Calvin and Hobbes movie.
Oh, that's good,
Yep.
dude. What? If Bill
Yep.
Watterson's still alive, right?
He's still alive. He's a hermit. Nobody talks to him.
You would have
but
to.
Yeah.
Because he owns the rights to that.
He would be the end all be all last word on every single frame of that movie.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love
He
that.
would
Is
have
that why they've never
ultimate
made one?
control.
God damn.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So really,
but he
would
doesn't
be-
want to. He doesn't want to do an
Right.
animated version of it. So
But
Oh, I
in this dream scenario,
Yeah.
you would get his approval.
in this
he would-
dream
he would be
scenario,
like the co-director.
Bill Watterson would call me right now on the phone. He'd be like, "Yo, dog, I heard you want to do animated Calvin and Hobbes.
Hey, it's Bill.
Orale. It's Bill, dog. It's little William.
Hey, I live in Maine. Wherever it fucking lives.
You don't know where I live,
that's a
dog, but
great
hey, I got you, dog.
That's
I
a
heard.
great one. And
Yeah,
then,
it would be the
geez, what
animated
was the-
Calvin and Hobbes,
Oh
done
my
by Bill
God.
Watterson,
Director-
produced by me,
Director.
Pick a director, a lead.
music by
Bill
Michael
Wa-
Giacchino.
Director Bill
Oh.
Watterson, produced by Augustin Rios, music by Michael Giacchino,
Yep.
and I imagine that the lead would be like the unknown kid that you would find. To
Yeah, it would
voice.
be
Yeah.
it would be like
Yeah.
an unknown voice because I
yeah.
don't want any kid's voice attached to this. I just
I love
want it
it.
to be.
Adam, what's
Yeah.
yours? What do you got?
Darth Plagueis,
Whoa.
directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Whoa.
Music by Ludwig Göransson.
Oh fuck.
I don't know who I would get to play Plagueis. He'd probably be like a Andy Serkis Snoke type of character. So it'd probably need some really good physical performer and voice.
Toby Kebbell.
Yeah, I was thinking like a Toby Kebbell. And then
Ben Stiller.
Ben
yeah,
Stiller.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then for Palpatine, I would be okay.
Eddie Murphy.
I would be okay going unknown, but it would be cool to get someone like a Tom Hiddleston in there.
Eddie Murphy
That would
for
be
sure.
cool.
But the Plagueis book, it's legends and it has cameos by characters like Darth Maul and Anakin and Obi-Wan. So you could bring back some of those actors. But yeah, Plagueis would be cool.
I would make a
John Carter too.
live action. Yeah. John Carter and the Gods of Mars, directed by Andrew Stanton, starring Toby Kebbell. No, I would make Super Mario the movie live action, and the director would be
Hector Navarro.
the
Gendy
director would
Tartakovsky.
be Gendy Tartakovsky. That's who the director would be. The
Damn,
lead,
that's who I should have had to do Plagueis.
The lead would be Jack Black or whoever is the new Jack Black. Which
There will
I
never
know,
be.
I know,
Jack Black.
but you know Jack Black.
What'd you just say?
JB's like what, 50 now?
Yeah.
He's like pushing
Yeah.
50. So just whoever could do that,
Yeah.
you know, but maybe around 30 years of age, maybe.
Yeah.
But maybe even JB could do it, and
Yeah.
then the film composer would be
JB.
Jack
It would
Black.
be
Jack
Tenacious
Black.
D.
It would
Oh,
be
it would
Tenacious
be
D.
Tenacious
That would be
D.
amazing.
That would be so
That would be
bad.
incredible.
Yeah, Daft Punk. Daft Punk would do my music.
There you go. Oh, bro, Daft Punk on the
dude,
Super Mario track?
Too much.
Oh
Too
my
much.
God.
That's
That's amazing.
That is perfect.
I'm
Perfection.
also uncreative. I would also just pick Michael Giacchino because I'd want to. I would do a Johnny Quest movie and have the music be Michael Giacchino, and I'd have him direct it.
Yeah.
But he probably would.
Robert Rodriguez was gonna do that.
Yeah, what
It never
happened to
happened.
that?
I don't know. Would have been cool. Would have been cool.
Next question.
Next question is from Tommy Kong. What are some undiscovered or underrated shows, movies, or comics that you guys can recommend, please?
I've talked about this so many times. Primal.
Primal.
Yeah.
People need to watch Primal.
Primal.
Yeah.
Primal is one of those shows that needs to happen. People also need to watch the 2D animated Clone Wars.
Oh yeah.
People
Yeah.
need to watch.
You're about to list his whole
Glitch. Yeah, just anything Gendy's made.
Hotel Transylvania.
Did he do all three of them?
No, I
Or
think he
just the
did.
first one?
He did 1, 2. I think he did 1 and 2. I
Yeah.
can't remember. He didn't do 4, I don't think. But I think he's a producer
Okay.
on all of them.
People need to watch The Dragon Prince on Netflix. People need to watch
Okay.
Glitch Techs on Netflix.
Okay.
People need to watch
90 Day Fiance on TLC.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's gold. that's like precious.
Yeah.
And also Dragon Prince, Glitch Techs, and wait, did I say Dragon Prince?
Yeah,
Okay,
you did.
Dragon
like
Prince,
3 times.
Glitch Techs, and what? Oh, The Amazing World of Gumball. Like no
great.
adults watch that show.
It's so funny.
and that show is one of the best written shows I've ever
Yep.
seen.
It's a great
It's
show.
so the animation's amazing. The comedy is out of this world funny.
Yep.
The gross face close-ups are really good. Just like
that moment
the Amazing
where
World of Gumball is good.
It reverted to storyboards,
Yeah.
to sketches,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like it reverted
Yeah.
from like finished animation to like animation with no color
Yes.
to like pencil drawing.
Yes.
To, it was so cool
like
and
back
meta.
in time. Like it goes
Yeah.
so deep that like the characters get so existential onto themselves that they break down the molecules of why they're in an animated show and why they exist in the first place. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
All
That's a
in like a
kid show?
15-minute
Yes.
episode.
Yes.
It's wild, dude. It's
Yeah.
such a good show. And
is that on Cartoon Network?
it's Cartoon Network. Yeah.
So it'd be on HBO Max. I think.
Yeah, it's on
I
HBO
think it's
Max.
streaming on there.
It's just so good. Everything. Just watch animated stuff. Just,
Yeah, I don't know how underrated it is, but Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, legitimately good.
Okay.
Legit. I'm rewatching it right now. and there's an episode that happens in season 2.
Hector, how many times have you rewatched that?
This is only my second time
Okay.
rewatching it.
That's only my 80th time.
Yeah, it's only my 45th time.
There's an episode that happens in season 2 that is so good, and then they do a similar-ish episode in season 3
Yeah.
where all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I'm so invested in these characters for this kid show.
Yeah.
These younger characters that are like teenagers or like, preteens, that I'm like, this episode that is a very classic TV formula episode is working on me because I'm so invested in these characters. I was like surprised how invested you get. So that would be a recommendation. And I'd also say Batman the Brave and the Bold.
I was just about to say that one if you didn't say that one.
Because we talked about
It's
it earlier.
the best Batman.
We talked about it earlier. I mean, everybody will always talk about the greats and the best of the bests and the things like Batman the Animated Series or like the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. But it's like, when's the last time you watched another Batman cartoon?
When have you ventured outside of that?
Some of that stuff is, I even really like the it's not as good, but I like The Batman.
Yeah. I have that.
The
I haven't
cartoon
seen
show,
that one yet.
Right? You haven't seen it. Did you ever watch it when
I
it was
remember the
coming
first
out?
trailer
No,
was Click,
I was-
Click, Boom. Was
that's
in the trailer.
cool.
Yeah, it was a good trailer.
It's so
Yeah.
different from BTAS,
Yeah.
from Batman the Animated
So
Series, but it's slick.
that's probably one of my favorite Batman animated styles. So I was always
Yeah.
curious about watching that one.
Yeah.
But I do like the angles and the sharpness that he
It's
has.
cool.
And just like, it looks so
It's
cool.
kind
I
of
just
like
never
Teen
got to see
Titans.
it.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like
A little
bit,
it's
yeah.
anime manga inspired, which
Yeah.
is dope. Yeah, I would go for that.
I really like Space Bandits. It's a comic book that came out in 2019 by
Nice.
Mark Millar.
Nice. I haven't read that yet.
It's
Yeah.
these like two female outlaw characters who like basically go through space and go on these different missions, and they get backstabbed by a bunch of like gang of men, and it's about them getting revenge. I didn't finish the entire comic book run. I think it has like 8 volumes. I think around there. I think I want to read maybe like the first like 6 issues or something. It's really good. I really did like it.
Cool.
And there's another one by Daniel Warren Johnson that I really liked.
Oh, Murder Falcon.
Murder Falcon.
Murder Falcon.
God damn it, that shit is good.
Rad.
God
Yeah.
damn. Make
Yeah.
that into a TV show on a streaming platform.
Yes.
Yeah, those are actually 2 that I would love to see turn into like a
Yeah.
streaming series or something.
Daniel Warren Johnson's art style.
Oh,
it's
man.
like, that dude needs to. That needs to inspire some animated stuff.
Yeah.
It's so good.
He's such. I got a chance to meet him at Comic-Con. He was a really cool guy.
Yeah,
really cool dude.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
He's done stuff with Skybound.
Also,
That's what Falcon
just
was.
any of the newer Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Yeah,
and
it's cool.
the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 TV series, incredible. So in the 2012 one, they expand on the 1991 movie.
Yeah.
So they do that same Shredder arc.
They do.
Where Shredder goes missing.
And then they go to the farmhouse or
They go
when
to the
Splinter
farmhouse.
goes missing.
Yeah, when Splinter goes missing. Sorry.
It's awesome.
Dude, the
Yeah.
arc will make you cry at him.
They
like,
take
it's
that
good.
first movie and it's like they do it the
expand
whole
it.
season.
It's so
Yeah.
goddamn good, dude.
Yeah, and you
It's
can even hear
written
little
so well.
traces of the
I'm about to
music.
go to Amazon and order this right now.
You can hear the traces of the music
Really?
that is hinting at the score from the original
Yes.
film.
And so you know how
Yeah.
in this series, what I love about it as well is that you know how Michelangelo is typically the dumb one, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Yeah.
When they go into Dimension X, he's
The smartest
the
one.
brilliant genius.
Yeah.
So like they're in this machine, right? They don't know how it works. They're like, Mikey, how does this work? He's like, I don't know. Blah 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 blah. Starts hitting stuff, and it
all
works.
works.
And it all works. Like
Yeah.
anything Mikey does, it works, and he's the brilliant.
amazing.
It's the things that they do in the 2012 series is just
All
really.
right, I guess I
really
got to
good.
order that Blu-ray.
Yeah,
you
not on
really
Blu-ray.
do.
Sorry,
I got to order that something.
DVD. Just
It's
DVD.
tough to track
okay.
down.
Damn.
Yeah.
But I think it's all streaming on. Actually, might be
Paramount
Netflix
Plus?
right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Netflix. Okay.
But it should be on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
That should be
just
its
have it
home
on in the
home.
background until you get to that arc.
Yeah.
You'll be invested, dude.
Yeah.
Invested. It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm sold then. I'm
Yeah.
sold. Theo Harris asks, gentlemen, I read an article in Puck Magazine that chronicled the feud that Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios had with Ike Perlmutter and Jeff Loeb leading Marvel Entertainment. Right around the time of Civil War, Feige threatened to leave Marvel and had preliminary negotiations with Warner Brothers about moving over to produce and lead the DCEU movies with Zack Snyder.
Wow.
We know what actually happened, but how do you think things would have changed for both the DCEU and the MCU if Feige had accepted Warner's offer?
I need to read that article. I'm very curious about that. I think that Kevin Feige is such a talented producer, and he has the perfect combination of movie brain, but also he can read a goddamn comic book and understand what is appealing about it.
Movie business
and
comic.
he has comic book brain.
Yeah.
So I think that if he were to go over to Warner Brothers, I think that if he did that, if he wanted to, it's the same as like a great Marvel Comics writer, Brian Michael Bendis. When he went over to DC, he started writing Superman, and his Superman stuff is great. Because you're like, of course it is. Because this guy understands the genre, he understands character, he understands storytelling, he understands that stuff. So yeah, his Superman stuff is like wonderful. And at least what I've read, I haven't read everything that he's been doing, but I think that if Feige went over there, I mean, I don't know if if the task would be like, I'm going to build on Man of Steel and what's happening here, or if it would be like, okay, cool, we're going to let that fizzle out. And then we're going to do DC Comics, the universe, the franchise.
Because 2016 was right when Batman vs. Superman came out.
Yeah.
And
so
they were in the
it's
middle
like,
of shooting Justice League. So
yeah.
like,
So it's like, would he just go over there to be like, cool, yeah, we're going to keep letting this happen, but then I'm going to come in and here's my notes and here's what I think the next movie should be and here's what I think the next movie should be. I don't know how, because of that, I don't know how different it would be than what it is now.
Yeah.
Because it's like the way things went.
Things would have still happened.
Yeah. Things would have still happened. Right. And the way things went, like, he still would have had to been like, okay, so next is Aquaman, and that's in play.
Yeah.
And then, these things are already in process. So, yeah, man, if you went over in 2016, we wouldn't have been seeing what that effect was until 2018, 2019, 2020,
maybe.
Until after
Maybe
Shazam,
never.
until Birds of
Maybe
Prey,
never.
until...
I think, yeah, maybe never. Maybe also like the big test for this whole thing would have been Justice League, the first one.
Right. That's what it would have
with
been.
Zack Snyder having to leave, and then bringing somebody else. Would he have come in and been like, no, you can't turn this movie into this?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Theo, I don't like this question, but I'm going to answer it anyway because I'm going to sound like a shit talker on Warner Brothers, but I don't think there's anything not even Kevin Feige could have done to steer that ship.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
There's
it was
nothing.
already in progress.
Yeah.
And that includes the fact that Zack Snyder had to leave the movie, obviously, for the family tragedy. There's all these things that are just like, it's
too many
not,
balls in the
it's
air.
not like one person's fault
No.
that this thing isn't firing on all cylinders.
There
It's
have
like many
been-
things.
Kevin Feige has set himself up in a position where he knew he could strike when the iron was hot. Like, he knew he was the guy to fill that spot.
And he was there for the inception of all of it.
We are not going to see another Kevin Feige,
Yeah.
probably ever,
Yeah.
honestly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever have that person to not just produce and do everything at such high quality and be so loyal to the comic books, but like gather a team that he could trust to continue on, because we know he can't take this on all by himself. Like, he's got a trusted team. I don't think Warner Brothers could have supported that kind of person, because from what I hear and what I understand and what I see from Warner Brothers is that they, like that article said, want to run shit like an old school Hollywood company.
Yeah.
Old school Hollywood companies are slimy, dog. Like, I don't like the way they got, what's her name, who played Dorothy.
Julie Andrews?
No, not Julie.
What are you talking about, Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
Alive with the Sound of Music.
What was her name?
Judy Garland?
Judy
Garland.
They had her addicted to cocaine
I know,
so that she would stay
I
thin,
know, man.
right? Like,
Yeah.
why do you want to go back to old school
I know.
styles? I don't like
And
that.
Even if you take,
Artists are treated badly.
Even if you take all that stuff aside and they're still running it like an old school movie studio, that stuff is now too slow for what the new franchises are doing.
You're putting
You're
yourself
You're too slow. You're too
back.
slow.
Yeah. Marvel's putting out literally... by the end of the year, they'll have put out, I think, 9 projects.
I just don't think there's any room to go back to that, and that's why I say that, like, Warner Brothers is in an identity crisis. They could not have supported a person like Kevin Feige to where he could have thrived. The environment was not there for him.
Yeah, I think the
Whereas
only thing that he
Marvel
might
was.
have had going for himself is that he would have brought over a lot of the talent that's now at Marvel.
But that's the thing, too. Like,
Yeah.
would they have listened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's an infrastructure at
Right, like
at
they
Marvel
have
Studios.
their people, they have their artists. There's so much
Yeah.
animosity, especially at that time, against Marvel. Remember,
Yeah.
Tsujihara was saying they were doing stuff just to spite Marvel.
Yeah.
Like they were trying to be the anti-Marvel,
Which is
and
like
imagine
so-
bringing a sweetheart like Chris Evans into that ugliness of like
Yeah.
we're just trying to be the opposite. Like, nah, man,
Yeah.
like that's not how you create a good environment.
And Marvel is also guilty of this too, with certain directors signing up and then deciding this isn't going to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we saw that happen with Warner Brothers multiple times.
Right.
They brought out
Right.
directors on stage,
At Comic-Con.
and they're like, "These are our diverse directors."
Yep.
and like it didn't end up working out. Like they didn't end up directing some of their movies and stuff. So
the environment's just not there, and I'm hoping it turns around. And I don't want to make this sound like I'm a freaking like Marvel stan, which I mean I kind of am. Yeah. But like at the same time, I don't want to make it seem like Marvel has been perfectly flawless in all of this stuff either.
But
right?
I would say that Marvel, for the most part, has like won over the audience's trust because of their consistency.
Right.
Even though when they've had movies that are not that great, instead of like going back on it, they just keep moving forward.
They are best case scenario in this world of making comic book movies work and accepted by the masses. Right. Like they are doing an awesome job at that, and that's their bread and butter. Perfect. I don't think Warner Brothers is in that space yet, so a Kevin Feige could not have done anything against that machine.
And it will be interesting to see.
Anyway, I'm sure Joker 2 is going to be great.
If it's a musical, yes. If it's a musical, I'll buy the first ticket. I will be there in
IMAX,
line,
baby. Yeah.
Bro, get Daft Punk on that, and
oh my god, that would be pretty sick. I'm all in.
All in it.
But I think it will be interesting to see how this like Warner Brother Discovery merger / restructuring is going to work, because that article talked about how they want to create like a Warner Brothers New Line division, a DC Entertainment division, Warner Brothers Animation, but they want DC Entertainment, they want it to have someone who is like a Kevin Feige who can handle movie, TV, publishing. Because now
will
Feige's
you
doing
support
that.
a Kevin Feige? That's the thing.
I know.
Yeah,
will
it's like
you support that?
You gotta walk. If you're gonna walk the walk, you gotta talk the talk.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
does that mean that they're going to take somebody from the comic book publishing world?
Yeah.
Who,
Right.
a comic book publisher, they understand their characters.
Right.
They have people there like Jim Lee and so on and
exactly.
so forth. And it's
Right.
like, or are they not going to? What was it? I think it was. I'm trying to remember who. I just read an article. I think it may have been like, maybe it was Grant Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember who was saying that it may have been Grant Morrison, that they were like pitching to do like a Moon Knight movie or like these like offbeat characters to Marvel back in the day, but they had an attitude of like, we'll get some of our people to do it. We'll get directors to do it, not comic book people.
Exactly.
And it still sometimes feels like they have that attitude, which is pretty crummy. Like it would be cooler if they could involve or pay more of the original comic book talent that's really, making this stuff pop. But I kind of lost my train of thought. No, it's just like, they have all that stuff already set up. Are they going to go and mine the animation world? Because it's
Which they should.
y'all had 25 years to do it.
Yeah.
Y'all had 30 years to do it. Where were you at Batman, the animated series, Bruce
Right.
Timm Pauldini?
Right.
Those guys were crushing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they didn't mine from that area to do like live action movies because it felt like there was this stigma of like, well, those are cartoon
kids.
people.
Yeah.
Those are cartoon
Don't worry
dudes.
about that.
We'll let them do that stuff.
That's
but
for
we
the
know.
8 to 12-year-old market.
We know how to make movies. And it's like, well, you guys know how to make Warner Brothers movies. You don't know how to make DC superhero movies.
Yeah.
It takes an outside force to come in and be like,
You had Donner and Burton
I
come in.
think Magic Mountain is treating the DC superheroes better than Warner Brothers is right now, bro. You go to Magic Mountain, you got Superman the ride, you got the Lex Luthor ride that goes right up next to it.
Okay.
The art is legit. Just like they got the comic book down over there.
They know which characters, like, we got to give this character a ride. Riddler.
Right, exactly.
Like, they know how to do it.
And they're right next to Bugs Bunny. Come on.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
That's how
it
it should be.
The Riddler ride goes right in between your legs, so you know that's a villain striking while the iron's hot.
That's right.
It's got you questioning
That's
stuff.
right. Questioning a lot of things.
Stuff, yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. This whole Warner Brothers thing is so interesting.
That was an interesting question, but it did feel a little bit more like, it felt like the question was more like,
what movies could have they made?
Imagine the hypothetical where
we've talked about that.
Where Kevin Feige or just a completely
That's a whole other video.
It's a whole other
whole video on
imagine,
its own.
Imagine a hypothetical if DC superhero universe characters could be as planned out or as committed to
MCU.
as the
We've
MCU.
talked about this 100 times.
It's a great,
by the way.
great question,
and
but
we have a
it's thing.
special kind of video that we might do with that.
Yeah.
But just wait.
I have
on
a
that.
whole between Hector and I recorded while we were driving to Comic-Con one year.
Yeah.
Of us
Do you still
talking
have that?
I might.
That could be a special edition of
a
the
hypothetical
CzechXicans
of like,
podcast.
well, what if in 2008 we got this instead of this?
Yeah,
and what if
yeah.
in 2005 we got that instead of that? It's a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That could be a bonus ep.
Yeah, could
Patreon
be.
exclusive.
Could be.
Imagine if Christopher Nolan directed the Iron Man trilogy.
Right. Exactly. What would
And
that
the
have
first
looked
one
like?
Christian Bale as Iron Man.
First one was like Iron Man Begins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Iron Man,
Invincible
the
Iron
Iron
Man.
strikes hot.
the first one would be Iron Man initializes because it's got to be alliteration.
Yeah,
The second one would just be called the Golden Avenger.
Oh, yeah.
And the third one would be called the Golden Avenger Rises.
Yep.
Would
Perfect.
be cool.
Perfect.
Would be cool.
Oh my God.
All right, next.
Ben Hernandez asked, with last month having been Mental Health Month and June being Men's Health Month, what are some ways you guys deal with your emotional and mental health? I like to
good
hike
question.
or have a me day and go to the theater by myself, or I'll build a Lego
Very good
set at
question.
home while watching a movie or your videos.
Yeah.
Also, happy birthday to fellow 1987 kid Adam. Thanks,
Yay.
guys.
Happy birthday, Adam.
Yeah, happy birthday, Adam.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
I think that self-care is very important. I also think that doing absolutely nothing is very important for people's mental, just like for yourself. I think that allowing yourself to not even just sleeping, just like existing for like an hour or like a half hour, to where you're just kind of sitting and thinking about stuff, like not sleeping, not engaged in TV, or just like something.
not on your phone.
Yeah, not on your phone.
That's key.
Or just something like letting yourself just kind of, even if it's as short as like a half hour, just like
go for a walk.
go for a walk, do something.
Yeah.
Or not even go for a walk if you don't feel like it. Just like sit there and be.
Yeah.
And just like think about stuff. I think
Some people
that is
can't
something I know a lot of people who can't do it. I know
Yeah.
it's very difficult for some people.
Yeah.
But it's something that I feel like people should do a lot more often, or at least consider doing, or maybe do like once a week, or like just kind of try to work a 15-minute time where you're just like being, because I don't feel like people do that enough.
You know what else is good is also if you go driving, go for a drive, no music is a similar thing, because you're a little automatic, and with no music, you are just fortunately
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
unfortunately left to your own thoughts. And sometimes in that space,
Yeah.
you solve problems,
Right?
you come up with creative ideas.
Yeah.
You spend time with yourself. That's
Yeah.
also mental health. Is everything you're describing is spot on, man. And
Yeah.
it's tough because when you're working, or even just like anytime you think, oh, okay, I have like an hour or two before I have to do my next meeting or I have
Yeah.
to do something, and then you just get on Twitter and Instagram,
And scroll.
and it's like it's going to make you mad.
Yes.
Or
right.
it's going to, like, this is not the same as, okay, I got 2 hours. I'm going to go get something to eat maybe.
Yeah.
And just sit here, not watch
Just
TV.
exist.
Because when you do that, your whole day goes by and you didn't have any time to yourself,
Right,
really.
right.
And that causes exhaustion.
Right.
When you're like, oh, I didn't have any time, but I feel like I didn't do anything. Well, because phones are time sucks.
Yeah.
And binging a show for 3-4 episodes, it's a time suck. And, and that all of a sudden it's now 5 p.m., 6 p.m., you're getting dinner, the day is done, and you're still like, oh, I have stuff I have to do. It can be overwhelming. It can be stressful. To be able to, like you said, have a day that allows you, if you can afford it, an hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes of nothing, like what Adam's doing right now, it helps.
I'm just thinking about
helps.
everything you're saying, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I need more of those.
I think you do need
and
that,
I
yeah.
do too.
Yeah,
And
we all
it's
do.
tough
We all
to
do, yeah.
because anytime I feel like I have a moment, I go, all right, I'm going to watch another episode of Jurassic World
Right.
Camp Cretaceous. I'm going to knock that out. Oh, I'm going to read this comic book. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And my whole day today, I was so plugged in. And when I'm doing stuff, and then I'm taking on these tasks that are still doing stuff, and then I get an email like, Hector, can you take care of this? And then I'm doing stuff. It really became all of a sudden it's 5 p.m. My day is over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And fortunately, my girlfriend and I had time today we committed. I mean, we weren't enthusiastic about it, but we're like, if we don't go to the gym
Gym time.
now, we won't go.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's go to the gym and then come back and then we can have dinner, and that's
Yep.
our
Yep.
night. And physical fitness is also a part of, but even if you're like, I don't want to
Yeah.
go running or lift stuff, just
Yeah.
take a walk for 30 minutes. Even listening to music, but taking a walk for 30 minutes is it just gets you moving, and it's similar. But like I said, that quiet, you can solve problems.
Yeah.
You can remember when we were kids, and that's how it would be.
Yeah.
Because kids with no responsibilities, we wouldn't have to think about or do stuff. we wouldn't have to pay taxes, that we could be sitting at home and we'd be like, oh, that's what I'll do for my project.
Yeah.
Like your brain needs that time, and it's healthy, and it's goddamn hard to get it in
very difficult
in today's
to get it.
world. So
Yeah,
try it out,
especially
man.
what we do. Like we're so
we're plugged in.
We can't not be plugged in.
Yeah.
And unplugging, I think, is the most difficult thing. It's part of the reason why I like motorcycling so much, why I like backpacking so much. Because when I'm motorcycling, I'm out there literally acting on instinct all the time. I didn't tell you guys, but I got knocked off my bike on the street the other day. I slid my bike on the ground. I didn't tell nobody. Well, I told my wife. But I was riding.
Did you get hurt?
No, I didn't get hurt. I was going slow. I was going like 10 miles an hour. I was going slow. So I was in the right lane, left lane, car was right here. I was going this way. Car just pulled out into my lane right in front of me.
Didn't see you.
Normally, I'd have enough time to stop, hit the only wet patch in LA on the street, fucking right in front of me in 90-degree weather. And so I hit the brakes. I was like, okay, I'm sliding. Like, this was all, it happened in all like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, I'm sliding. I'm going to hit this car. I better go down. So I just went, boop, went back a little bit. I landed on my elbow. I had armor and protection on, so I'm fine.
Whoa.
But I, laid down the bike and I was just like, okay, cool. And then I sat there. I got up. Literally everybody just kept driving by. I was like, oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for checking on me. Picked up my bike and just kept going. Like, the bike wasn't damaged. It got a few scratches or whatever. But, like, you're out there, and I motorcycle because it's all instinct. I can't think about it.
You have to be in the zone.
You have to be there, present at that moment.
I mean, you've told me a couple of stories where people have, like, taken a left-hand turn while you were going. And you're like, this person's not going to stop.
Yep, exactly. Like, you have to be very aware of everything that's going on around you. And so, yeah, it's just like backpacking. It's kind of the same thing. Like, when we're out there, you literally don't have any option but to walk up this mountain.
Yeah.
And then while you're there, you're just like, oh, look at that beautiful tree. Look at this beautiful mountain. Like,
and you're thinking about your life.
You're thinking about, it's just like a way to, like, defrag your brain a little bit. Like, just kind of get things in order.
You know what messes me up is that when I am so locked into Twitter or social media, sometimes I get to a point where I'm like, I feel like I'm caught up.
Yeah.
But then the addiction is, okay, well, now that I'm caught up, I don't want to be backed up with notifications.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of be on top of it all day today.
All day.
And then
don't let them build up.
That's a time suck.
Dude, I've done that. You know what else I've done?
Yeah.
I have a Twitter tab open, and I'll, like, click home to see what's, like, the latest thing. I'll not even think about it. Autopilot. Control-T, Twitter.com. I'll literally punch in another tab, and I'll look, and I'm like,
that's the same.
Why do I have 12 tabs open?
Why did I just open Twitter
Because
again?
we're plugged in, and I have started to try to tell myself, okay, once I'm caught up to my notifications, put it away.
Yeah.
Let the news build up for a few hours. Because it's not every day does something happen and we're on it.
Yeah.
And frankly, most days there's not a lot of news that we really, it's only for bad reasons. Occasionally, sometimes news happens and then we're on it and then we're glued to our phones. But but with the notifications, sometimes I go, I'm caught up. I deserve a treat. I'm not going to look at it for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let notifications build up and I'm going to go try to do something else or do nothing. And to try to, feel better. And then eventually get back, and it takes 2 seconds to catch up.
Yeah,
okay,
literally
great.
2 seconds to
I'm all
catch
caught up. That's it. Nobody talked to me today.
Yeah, man. And it's very tough to train yourself to do that. It's very difficult because all our devices are built to encourage that instant gratification of like getting all your stuff done right away. But I think really disconnecting yourself from all that stuff is really important for person's mental health. And I also don't want to downplay like going to therapy, having clear communications with people who you have relationships and you care about with.
That's number one if you can do it. That's
like
number one.
Being honest and not lying, like that's great. That's another great thing that you can do. Seeking help if you really do need help. Like those kinds of things are also things that you could think about or realize while you're on these disconnecting journeys that you should be on.
Ben's got some good ones here. Excuse me, had a McFlurry earlier with building a Lego set, that kind of shit. That's
Yeah.
also great.
Right, exactly.
That's
you
also
kind of just like hyper focus on one thing.
So for me, what it is are
Yeah.
these rhythm games like Guitar Hero
Yep.
or
Yeah.
growing up, I played a lot of Dance Dance Revolution, but on the keyboard. So
Yeah.
it was just hitting the arrows.
yeah.
And so it would all be muscle memory, but I would just go through thoughts of like my day,
Yeah.
of like replay things throughout my day or how events went or relationships or how my parents were being or
and
like
the whole
just
time
stuff.
you're just like,
Yeah, but my fingers would be on autopilot because they would be busy doing something else and my brain could just kind of wander.
Yeah.
And I think finding that for yourself, just like that, finding that for yourself, I think it's really important. Like
Yeah.
the one thing that can allow you to either disconnect or have a thought train or just like have thoughts to yourself. I think that's a good way to really, I don't know, just process things. I think we
Yeah.
all need more time to do that.
I gotta go rethink my life.
Good episode, you guys. Good episode. Do you have any thoughts real quick before we wrap up?
Yeah, I gotta rethink my life strategy.
yeah, you do.
I did take a drive like
Yeah.
2 weekends ago. I just went up to the Angeles.
Yeah, the Angeles
highway.
to Mount Wilson Observatory.
Yeah, I just and I didn't even drive all the way across it because
Yeah.
it goes all the way.
It's far, yeah.
Yeah, it's far. But I drove across it, and all I did was I did play music.
Yeah.
But it was nice to just like have the windows down halfway and just
Oh, yeah,
drive. And I
just
did that for
vibe.
like 2 hours.
Yep.
I didn't even go to the observatory, honestly.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
brought my camera. I took some pictures, and I was just like, oh, take a shot here, take a shot
Yeah.
there. And there's no service.
Yeah, no.
So I wasn't like opening Twitter or anything, and it was kind of nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
And I was like, I should probably do this more often.
Yep, most definitely.
Why-
Find that thing that's going to give you that time.
Why am
To
I editing
really-
Mandalorian episodes on Saturday and Sunday?
Bro, we have editors for that. Get out of here.
What am I doing?
Yeah. Anyways.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are sold, give
Yeah.
us a 5-star rating,
Yeah.
please. Get more people listening.
Give us one of these. Oh, I think I hit
a
another
1-star
button.
rating.
Yeah, a 1-star rating. Did I ruin things or is that good? I think I hit the Bluetooth button. There you go. And give us one of those too. give us a little bit of that and all of that. All of that. Give us all of that.
Check out all the stuff we're doing on Patreon. There's a whole lot of shit on there that you might like. Go check it out. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.